Hello, welcome to ptscadexpert. My name is Venkatesh. I'm a new trainee for the most much needed skill course of project management software, the Primavera. Why I'm saying like it's a much needed skill, let me explain clearly. The 90% of project, not only in India, in all our world, it's not executed as per the estimated time and budget. You know the reasons. So research report says inefficient planning, inappropriate communication and coordination, design errors, the budget conflicts, labor shortage, and change in scope. These are the top reasons that causes the projects to be delayed and also the cost overrun. So if you look at all these issues, the majority part is coming from the management side. So there is a severe shortage skill in particularly in the project planning in the construction industry. The one skill, the one profession that has a shortage in the construction industry is the project planning. And this is the software that talks and deals with the project time and budget, the most important metrics in the project success. So that is the reason I'm saying the Primavera software is a much needed skill that is required in a present construction industry.
And out of all project planning software, Primavera has advanced features to manage the project in program and portfolio. And this makes it popular in the market, especially in UAE countries like Abu Dhabi and Dubai. In their countries, Primavera is mandatory for every executed project. The Primavera documents used as a legal evidence in the courts when the disputes arises between the stakeholders. Because a well-executed plan gives a clear picture how they planned and how they executed. Not only in UAE, now in Indian organization also hiring a planning engineers who have a Primavera knowledge. If you're a person, look at you as a manager position or get a job in Dubai and earn good amount, this course will help you a lot. Please watch the video completely. Here you can witness some glimpse how the planning software works, how the syllabus was designed, and how I am going to execute this course to expertise you in the Primavera software.
Primavera software is very easy to learn. There is no doubt on it. But if you are using this software in a real-time project, it's somewhat tricky and complex process. But to get a better output from this software, we need to drive in a special direction. On a particular note, we designed this course in 10 stages and 24 steps to follow from the creating project to integrating the tools. And all these 24 steps are clubbed into three modules. One is input module, the process module, and output module. Coming to input module, so where we collect all necessary information used for the scheduling and estimation of a project. So this module is again divided into 5 chapters, like starting from the concept of project planning, where we learn what is the project objective, constraints, what are the project metrics, and what are the planning types, and also the project life cycle and project monitoring and project control. This part is it's theory kind of thing, where we learn the basics of a project planning. Then we learn in the scheduling techniques, the bar chart, network diagram, and CPM method. So this CPM method is the method used in the Primavera software. And then the little introduction about Primavera P6 software, and that finally the data preparation. So we required some data to fill during the execution of the software. In the process module, where we all perform all kind of tasks one by one, and also we fill the data when it is required. This is the process module. So first, we start with the preparing the project environment by establishing the enterprise project structure, organization breaking structure, and creating manage project templates and all these things in the first chapter. And then the activities management. Here we define the work packages, adding the project activities, assign the activity codes, and giving relationship to the activities and assigning the resources and everything. And coming the third chapter is like resource management, where we create all kind of roles and the resources that is required to complete the activities. And also we perform the kind of resource optimization techniques. And the fourth chapter in the process module, the budget estimation, creating the cost accounts, adding the price to the resources and everything. Then finally, we update the progress in the fifth chapter in the process module. The process module. So we done all kind of works in the process module. In the output module, we will get different kinds of reports that are required, the standard reports that are required in the project execution. So for this purpose, we use some kind of data visualizations tool to compare the actual to budgeted planned versus actual. Okay, and also progress reports, comparison and analysis reports, and also additional features we discussed in the output module, the portfolio organizing of programs and organizing of projects in a portfolio or program management, and advanced scheduling techniques, options, and value management, and also advanced P6 integration with different tools. At the end, we perform the four different kind of projects, real-time projects, and also we'll provide you the P6 manuals and books, and more importantly, best practice to use the software in a correct manner. And also you will get real-time P6 project files at the end. Not only Primavera, any kind of software have set up rules and the process. This process we call workflow of a software. So there are 10 stages in the Primavera software in its workflow. So let's discuss one by one. The stage one, break down the project into a measurable pieces, like how we cut the apple into pieces to easily have it. Okay. So at the end of the day, so we will have a work breakdown structure of your entire project. The number of pieces and the number of parts will depends upon the type of the project and size of the project. If your project is big enough, so you must have a lot of work breakdown in your projects. And the stage two, we need to enter the activities into each work breakdown. The stage three, so we add the information like duration, constraints to each and every activity and connect all these activities with one another in a closed network. So at the end of the day, you will get the start and finish date of every activity. Now in the stage number four, we assign resources like people, material, and equipment to the activities. So and you get cost of each activity by assigning resources with the cost information. And also you will get the budget of your entire project. And the stage number five, we optimize the plan and cross-check the dates, the budget, and come with a practical and economical plan. And set the baseline dates and budget to compare the progress. So when you're going for execution, so we need the baseline set and budget. The stage seven, so well document the plan and communicate with all the stakeholders and get approve from them and start the work. That is the stage number seven. And in this phase number eight, we just record the actual progress of activities and compare this progress with the against the baseline that we already fixed in the stage number five. In the stage nine, not only the progress, we also record the consumption of resources and the money that you spend during this project. In some cases, we need to re-estimate the resources and we need to add extra resources and extra money is required to finish the entire project. The final stage, number 10. So we produce the management reports. These reports used for the closing the project, and also uh, we need to send these documents to the client. As I mentioned earlier, this Primavera course is designed in 24 steps. From creating a project to the printing of final reports and integrating with other tools. So we execute all these 24 steps in the process module and output module in our syllabus. So by spending around 24 hours. Whereas in input module, I will give you about basic concepts that will help you to understand the entire process in the Primavera. So let's explore the each and every steps in one by one. Step one is creating a project. Once you log in the software, the first job is to create a project with the relevant information. Based on type of project, you need to select appropriate EPS node. And then you need to enter project unique ID, the project name, when the project is starting, and who is the responsible for the project. Other information like location and contact details, these are optional. You can store in the project notes. If EPS node or OBS node not available, it's our job to enter into the software before project creation. So once you create the project, then the next task is like a step two is defining a calendars. So before adding activities into your schedule, it is important to define the calendar. Defining a calendar means defining a working hours in a day and working days in a year. This calendars plays important role in a time calculations in the Primavera software. Primavera has three types of calendars. One is global calendar. You can assign any project or resource to these calendars. These calendars are managed by in enterprise level. So another one is project specific calendars. Only a particular project follows working hours and working days stored in a project calendar. Another one is resource calendar. It's the same as the project calendar. It's dedicated for the resources. So some resource like heavy machinery works only in a particular hours in a particular days. Once you're done the calendar, next job is creating a WBS and project breakdown structure. It is the breakdown of a project into a smaller components. The WBS means the structure of project into a manageable deliverables. So each deliverable can be further broken into a subtask. So the number of components depends upon the type of project. Okay, the type of departments are involved, type of disciplinaries are involved in the project. There is no specific and mandatory formula for this. So usually we decompose the project based on the phases: the design phase, the procurement phase, and construction phase, and closing phase. So once you complete the breakdown, the next step is adding activities into the each component. These are the smallest parts in your project breakdown structure. The P6 works on the concept of activity. So it is very important to understand how the activity works. In a project management, activity is defined as the amount of work you perform that converts the raw materials, the resources, into a deliverable product. For suppose constructing a column, we need to perform some kind of activities like the farm work, reinforcement, and placing concrete using the pumps, concrete pumps, and curing with the water. Okay, these are the activities that are used to construct a column. Likewise, the concept is very simple. So we need to add all required activities into the software with the activity ID and activity name and also activity duration. Again, this duration, it depends upon the number of resources assigned to your particular activity. You may find that one activity can take 4 days using the 4 workers, and the same activity can complete in 2 days when you assign the 8 workers. To finish the complete project, we need at least hundreds to sometimes thousands activities into a project. So there are ways to simplify this process by we can use the Excel sheet by adding the activities in the Primavera P6 software. So in out of thousands activity, the 90% of activities are repeated. The activity that are used in the first floor was the same for the remaining floors. So maybe the start date and end date will change. Primavera given feasibility to copy and paste these repetitive tasks. There are some tips to follow while adding all these activities. Okay, so we must have a clear cut knowledge on each and every activity before entering into the project. So once you done all adding all the activities, next job is connecting all the activities with the logic links. Uh, that is the step number 5, giving a relationship between the activities. There are 4 kind of relations. We can assign 2 different activities like finish to start. That means one activity is finished immediately, next activity will start. Finish to finish, start to start, and start to finish. This is the place you must have a proper knowledge on activities. So relationships are very important to define your sequence of and also the project duration also. Once done, you will once done this, you will have a network diagram connecting all the activities in your project. Again, there are multiple ways to connect each and every activity. Once you've done all these connection, okay, the next job is we need to review the network diagram. So all you need to check all the activities should be connected with one another or not. Otherwise, it is very difficult to find the start and end date of activities. And also it is very difficult to calculate the critical path, which decides the total project duration. By using the special features, we can review every activities in a network diagram. Step number 7 is creating a resources. Resources are something or some material or some equipment or some people that is required to complete the activity. It is one of the most important step in the project scheduling. Creating a resources means to identify all the resources with the details like a unit of measure, whether the cubic meter, the square meter, or a tons, or numbers. So price per unit and the nature of resources. This information is to be loaded in against each resources. Entering the cost rate for each resource enables you to conduct a resource cost analysis. This is also important information when you are planning to estimate your project in accurate estimation. If you want accurate estimate, this resource cost information is very much is needed because the major portion of your project budget is goes to the resource cost only. So some resources are very limited in availability, like labor resources. So once you create all resources, the manpower and materials and equipment, next job is to assign these resources to the relevant activities. That is the step number 8, assigning resources to the activities. The required quantity of each resource is assigned to a particular activity. If suppose if you are placing some concrete, okay, 30 cubic meter of concrete is required, and 6 people are required. Okay, some reinforcement, some steel, some tons of steel is required, like that. You need to assign the required quantity against each activity. For a slab, a column, how much concrete, how many laborers, what equipment is needed. Some activity may take a single resources. Some activities takes more number of resources. Again, it's our job to identify with our site experience. Again, there are tricks to simplify these talks by using the Excel sheet. And after assigning the resources, we need to create and use the roles. Step number 9. Primavera has a additional function, the title called the roles, which is used for planning and managing the resources related to the people, like top management people, managing the employees in the organization, like site engineer, design engineers, accountant, or draftman, something like that. So the role, that means the role may be the skill or a trade or your job description. The role may be assigned to activities in ways similar how the resources are assigned. some activities like inspection of plumbing and something, approval of drawings. So these are activities is done by the skilled peoples and the roles. The roles can be used here in the resources. In the we need to assign activities to these roles. Once you done activity resources and activities roles, the next job is estimating the activity cost. Once you assign the resources and roles to the activity with the cost information, and then Primavera help you get the cost of each activity. That information you can visualize in the form of tables or in a graph against each activity. For a particular activity, how much it is cost. Okay, what is the labor cost? What is the equipment cost? What is the materials cost, like that. You can display every information in a Primavera software. And there is a column you can add a direct cost in the name of expenses, but with some costs it is very difficult to identify the resources. You can directly, some indirect cost will be there. Okay, so that you can assign. The 11, that prepared time, preparing the time-phased cash flows. Expected cash required in a day or a week or a month during the project execution. It is good to have idea before execution how much cash is required in monthly wise or sometimes a week wise. So based on that, organization can manage their internal and external funding options. Otherwise, the activities may delay lack of funding. The developing a resource usage profile. So this is a similar way of exposing the cash flows. There are chances to postpone of some activities due to lack of resources, some material lack and something. So to avoid such issues, it is good to have such reports that represent daily or weekly or monthly resource consumption. By using these reports, purchase department can purchase required resources and on time. And the step number 13 is optimizing the resources. Why we optimizing? So when there is an imbalance in demand and supply, right? So in a project management, there are two types of optimizing techniques. One is resource leveling technique. It is used when the resources are in shortage. For this, we adjust the activity duration to avoid the peak demand. The function is simple, like delaying the activities until resource becomes available. This is the thing that you need to do in the resource leveling. In some cases, another techniques we can use, like resource smoothing. So here, time is fixed. The project duration is fixed. So here we need to allow extra resource to complete the activity on time. If suppose one activity is there, it required 8 days by using the 4 workers. Okay. So, but I want to reduce the project duration. So I can give extra resource like 8 people. So I can complete that particular activity in 4 days. So where the projects are important, the time is a constraint. This technique is used, resource leveling. You don't need to worry about all these concepts. I dedicate one module for this purpose as an input module. I will teach you all the concepts detailed in this module. In this step, the software calculates the shortest time in which the project may be completed. And also it will identify the critical path by connecting the critical activities which are represented in red colored bars. This is the third phase in a project scheduling. In the first phase, till the step number 6, to add the activities and connected with the logic. And the second phase, you added the resources and optimized it. By using the F9 shortcut for scheduling, third phase will start. And the next step is applying the constraints in the project. Constraints means the date that restrict the start or complete of an activity. There are two types of constraints, external constraints or internal constraints. External constraints are the contractual dates. You must finish the work package in a particular day. Internals like resource constraints. And you need to plan the activity by considering all these constraints. And the next step is an optional step, that is considering the contingent time and the risk. So this is optional steps in a project scheduling. The process of planning in a project, in the process of planning a project, you may identify the different risks. So we need to perform the formal risk analysis. So in this risk analysis, you may identify the mitigation activities that should be added to the project scheduling before before the approval. The addition contingent time should be considered when submitting a schedule for approval. So this complete step is optional. So next step is organizing the project data. It is important to display the project data, what we exactly needed to analyze. The project data may be the activities with the start and finish dates, or activities with the planned cost, or a cash flows. So with the help of features like a grouping and filtering and sorting options, and more importantly, using the layouts, we can customize the display as like we want. And the next step is the printing and publishing these data. Once you organize your project data, so how you want to look at, then you need to print the data and publish the data into a different platforms. That is step number 18, printing and publishing. This step is for to communicate information with the other stakeholders before finalizing the plan. We can't share the Primavera files to all the peoples. Instead of that, we print and publish the data that is required to check and forward to the people. This is the final step in the third phase. From this planned part is completed, the next phase is monitoring and controlling the project.
Baseline. So this is the first step in the monitoring and controlling the project phase. So the optimized and agreed plan is used as a baseline for measuring the progress and identify the changes, monitoring the changes in the project. The software record the baseline dates of each activity for comparison against the actual progress during the life of the project. So here, all you need to do in the execution phase, update the progress in Primavera software. Once you just track the project and update in the progress. So the step number 20 is updating the progress. This is the important phase for the regular monitoring and control, and it will begins with tracking the progress. So normally the project is updated once a week, bi-weekly or monthly, and in a very short-term projects like it will complete in a days. So that those projects could be updated daily or even by shift or hour. A project in a lifetime, a project can be updated, will be typically updated between 12 to 20 times in its lifetime. So whatever the frequency you choose in for updating, you will have to collect some activity information in order to update the schedule. So for completed activities, so you should have an actual start and actual finish date. For in progress activities, you must have an actual start date of that activity, percentage of completed, and expected finish date of the activity. For unstarted work, so you need to check any revisions to those activity in terms of logic and durations. Once you've done all this updating the work, updating the progress, the next important step is performing the analysis. Yeah. So to understand the reality, and some kind of analysis have to be performed, like comparison analysis, the time comparison, the cost comparison analysis. From there you can get a schedule variance, how the schedule is varied from the plan versus an actual, likewise in the cost variance. So, and also the end value analysis. This is the important analysis in the project management. So for to do the end value management in the Primavera, so we need to follow the 7 steps. 7 steps must be completed to set up a Primavera basics for end value management. Once you're done, so you must have end values for all activities you completed. End value is the monitor value that indicates the amount of work achieved on a project. If your project is 100 crores, if you completed 25% of work, whether your work is finished, your work is valued 25 crores or not. So that is the end value. So once you've done all these things, okay, you identify all the changes. So you done a performance analysis and everything. You identify some serious issues in their project scheduling. And the next step is correcting the schedule. That is step number 22. So this can be done based on the reality. So you need to do some modification and corrective actions to control the project progress. So there are a lot of variants, a lot of changes. So there are a lot of deviation from as planned and actual. So for that you need to have, or you may need to have some extra activities, or you may need to make changes in existing activities as well as. Whatever is changed at this stage is to be done by approving all the important affected stakeholders. So then is the printing final reports. These are the standard reports. Okay, it is available for every project in the Primavera P6 software. So these templates basically it's designed by the organization policies and everything, maintain standard policies, standard documents. So and these are maintained and managed for every project. Again, this for every project. So these are dedicated reports. There is a dedicated report section in Primavera software. From that you can produce 50 plus standard or batch reports. It's related to the scheduling. It's related to the reports for monitoring and everything. Also, you can modify those reports or you can save it in further use. Like you can save as a templates. So if you done all this printing final reports, the next step is integrating with the tools. This is the advanced step in Primavera. Primavera has given feasibility to connect other tools like business intelligence, data visualization, and risk analysis tools. And this step is dedicated to explore all possible ways of integration.
I hope you understand all the steps in planning a project in a Primavera software. The question is it required to execute all these steps for every planned project? Answer is maybe no. You know why? In a practical planning of a project, there are only two approaches. So one is for like, are you planning for an estimation? Are you planning for the control? So what is the difference between them? Planning for estimation approach, the objective is to create a schedule with the cost that are used only as an estimate. The schedule will never be updated. Activities may have many resources assigned to them or to develop an accurate cost estimate and include many items that would never be updated during the process of updating a schedule. Here my intentions are clear. I will use my planning for a budget estimation. I add all resources that are involved. Planning for control approach. In this approach, my objective is to control and monitor the resource units that are assigned to activities. I will keep on update the actual units used during the project execution. Possibly, I will perform end value analysis to understand the deviance between the planned versus actual. So in this, it is important to ensure that the minimum number of resources are assigned to activities and preferably only one or two resources assigned to each activity. When a schedule has many resources per activity, the process of updating a schedule becomes extremely difficult and time consuming. So balance should be there between the number of activities and the number of resources. Maintain single role, like more activities a schedule has, the less resource should be created and assigned to the activities. So for more contents related to the Primavera, please like and subscribe these channels, and also mention your comments in the comment section box what you are expecting from the Primavera P6 software.